411 Music, talking with members of the ministry. In front of me is Burton. Hi. Special guest. And
I'm the keyboard player, John Bechdel.
Oh, okay. So you're his partner in Ascension?
Yes.
Yeah. Ah, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
I hooked up, I used to be a Killing Joke with Raven, and he and I knew Al from years ago.
Okay.
And when Tommy and Raven hooked up with ministry, they kind of brought me on board, and then, Burton, we crossed paths with Fear Factory, and Al's always been a big Fear Factory fan and everything, so, Burton ended up working on the record.
Because of Al, Raven and John, I got to get in and meet him finally. This is cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll ask him to make it. That's one thing I was going to ask is, what it's like being, part of the ministry machine on pretty much their last run.
I think it's pretty damn cool myself. I'm having a blast. Sick, but I'm having a blast. And,
Yeah.
To me, it's an honor. And I was like, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah.
For me, it's always like the big commitment to go out on the road. I have a family and children and stuff, so I really have to make it. It's always like stressful. It's a lot of work with ministry, so once in a while I kind of relax, go on stage, and I'm like, playing, and it's like looking at Al and looking at everybody and like, wow, this is pretty cool, and I have like a one moment of like, oh, this is why I'm doing it, and this moment of clarity.
Yeah.
One brief moment of clarity while we're performing. Because the rest of it, the traveling and stuff, we've all been doing this so long, it's not really the ideal lifestyle, but some people love it.
Yeah, that's probably the top reasons why Al's giving it up. He hates touring.
Yeah, I was reading some of the press releases and stuff. He's just tired of the press and the touring and that. He'd rather sit in the studio and do his thing, which...
Yeah, he's been doing it for 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
He's a really good producer, and I have my own band called False Icons, which is also coming out on the label.
Very good.
I'd often wanted a producer to kind of come in and just take what we had and just put the finishing touches on it, but somebody that I could trust and somebody that had, the understanding of what I was trying to do, and not just some big name producer that was going to mutilate my material. Al just let us do our thing, and he came in when we needed him, and he knows how to mix, he knows how to place sounds, and that's something, even with all my experience, that's something that I'm not even really skilled at.
Right.
Like, I don't mix records for a living. I'm more of a programmer, writer, composer, performer kind of guy, so even though I have engineering skills, you can have all the nuts and bolts, but, it's an art of being able to mix. And Al's tried to share a lot of his, knowledge with us.
That's cool about being in the studio, and he's just like, he likes to tell stories about it and give hints, and, he helps, he likes to teach people.
People understand equalization and compression, but to really understand how to use compression, how to make compression work, it's an art. Same thing with EQ,
Right.
Where the sounds are going to be. With False Icons, we had so much stuff, synths and guitars and drums, and it was a bit busy, and that was the problem we were having. But Al was able to find a place for everything.
Just kind of came in and tightened it up.
Sometimes he would be like, "Do you really need 4 bass synths here?" But other than that, he was like,
That's John's style. He orchestrates everything for a full symphonic piece, and it's there's more than one violin, so that's the way he writes.
And layers
of orchestration.
And so I had to learn how to kind of reel it in a little bit sometimes and make some decisions. A few things got kind of taken out here and there, but really I was surprised that we didn't have to do as much of that, because once everything had its little home in the spectrum, it wasn't so busy. It wasn't
right.
Yeah.
So you need to say what and kind of find a place.
Exactly. And that's like I said, that's true art. It's not something you can read in a textbook or
That's Aaron Rossi, the drummer.
I just washed my head. How you doing?
Oh, very good. Perfect. Nice meeting you.
Aaron.
Hey, I'm Jason.
Hello, Michael.
You joining in?
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I'll tell you what. I'll take a quick moment because I heard the Ascension album last night. I finally had it sent to me.
Oh, cool.
And enjoy. I mean, I'm a Fear Factory fan from a long time, so this is kind of an honor sitting here in front of you too.
Oh, thanks, man.
You know, and I'd heard a little bit. I guess as far back as '02, I'd heard about the project.
That's when John and I started working on it.
Yeah, I was in Fear Factory playing keyboards for many years on Obsolete.
Yeah, like 5 years.
Yeah. And we hit it off together, and you know, our musical interests, you know, very similar. Didn't really come from a lot of metal background, you know what I mean? So we wanted to try something that utilized our own talents and skills and influences that we both share.
Yeah, and like I said, I finally I heard about it in '02, and then I see it's out now, and like I said, I heard it last night. I enjoy it
Thanks,
a lot.
Appreciate
It's really. I don't know if, ambient's not quite, atmospheric is the word I'm looking for, more than ambient.
Yeah, because ambient connotates a certain type of, like, vibe, but it's more atmospheric. It's like, there's more to it than just ambience.
I have so many sounds, I've been programming for like almost 30 years, and so I've been on these big, heavy bands that, I couldn't really use a lot of these types of sounds, and with the Watchers I was able to, bring out all these, vintage sounds that I'd always wanted to use, and sounds that I programmed and never really used too much,
Right, just kind of have them set aside.
So it was actually a really good chance to kind of really exploit some of the things that I do and I'm good at that I haven't had a chance to really do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I went. That's one of the reasons why I went there, because he has this incredible library and he has the talent to do it. And he was surprised to hear the guitar riffs.
Yeah, I mean, I joke about it sometimes because when he first showed up, I was thinking, Fear Factory, right? So I'm like,
right.
It's going to be something like Fear Factory. And he pulls out a guitar and he plays, and I was like, this is not Fear Factory. So like I had to do this kind of like changing gears in my head. And no sooner did I think, what am I going to do with this? Then suddenly I heard all this music just coming from everywhere, and I was like, oh, I could just,
Yeah, the guitar riffs, he was able to come up with so many alternate melodies and just create orchestrations on top of that. It was awesome.
It just flowed, really. See, the thing about songwriting is, you could sit down and say, I'm going to write the best song ever, and it's just never going to happen,
No.
But when you have some inspiration or an idea to bounce off of, suddenly it just comes to you, and that's the best way, when it just flows naturally, because I struggled to write music, and it wasn't until I learned how to just let it flow and how to find an inspiration, and I learned how to write songs.
Yeah, see, that's the best, and that's what a lot of the Ascension album sounds like, is it just sort of came out.
Yeah.
Not that you meant to sit and write all this and put this here, that it just sort of flows that way. And then
that's exactly what it came out.
There's arrangements, and they're basic arrangements and everything, but sometimes people get a little carried away, and it's just like, oh God, lacks arrangement, lacks any kind of structure, So,
right.
We weren't looking to do anything like overly complicated either. We just wanted it to, just sound good and
flow,
feel and flow.
Yeah. So how was hooking up with ministry kind of helped accomplish that? And correct me if I'm wrong, you're also working with them on the label itself.
Yeah, on
the
13th
Plant.
Yeah, Ascension Watches is on 13th Plant as well.
One of the main reasons that I ended up doing the ministry gig was because I had this band that I was trying to get off the ground. When we first started shopping, it was the worst time ever in the music industry to try to shop a project. Nobody started anything.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was pretty dark days, and we had this stuff that we really
wild.
Yeah. Now. We had this stuff that we really believed in, but we hated the music industry. We hated the whole business aspect of it, and after seeing Al kind of building back up from Mole, and we were kind of getting ministry back on the map and everything, it just seemed like a logical progression. And I had heard about this label that they were starting, and I was like, maybe that's the way to go. And as soon as I went out and met Al, he was saying, this is what we want to do, and I know you have a band, and I'll produce it, and we'll put it out, and it'll be fair, and so there was always that little carrot dangling there, like more than just another tour.
Right.
Just a chance to really, get our thing off the ground and not just have to put it on the back burner for another.
Yeah, being involved with ministry has helped a lot. I'm getting more opportunities now. I'm meeting lots of different people that would never come to a Fear Factory gig.
Right.
And And it's refreshing to me because it's like this is the music I was really into.
Yeah.
And I'm finally part of, it was always a dream of mine to work with ministry, and here I am. And so it means a lot to me, and it's also important. And I think it's going to help, just the fact that Al is going out like this, the tour is doing so well. That sounds great, looks great. Everything's ending on a high note. I just get, because we're involved with that through 13th Planet, I think it's going to help.
Yeah. A lot of people might be looking at it as an ending, but we're all looooking at it as a beginning. That's why none of us are crying at the end of the night or anything.
Because I'll still be working with Al.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like the Wax Tracks vibe.
Yeah.
That was something you could never, label people could understand why that had the character that it did, because there was integrity. People trusted the label. They knew that if they bought something on Wax Tracks, that it was going to pretty much fit into the style and the sound, and that they could trust it. Most record labels they don't have that.
No, yeah.
Reputation. Oh, it's on Sony. It must be good. No, it doesn't work like that.
No, not on.
That's Sid, guitar player.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hungry.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Dropped 2 loads last night.
Too much info.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, edit that.
Man, he's got a refill.
Edit her out.
So that's mainly what he's looking to do with 13th Planet then? Is that kind of, like maybe the old Wax Track sort of thing?
I believe so.
You haven't actually said it. I mean, we've all,
but that's
it's inferred.
That's what he's going to do.
That's the feeling that's coming out of it.
Because it's all in the family. So far, it's mainly the circle of ministries, Prong,
And Aaron's also in Prong, and Sid's also in Refco.
Yeah.
So, which are all 13th Planet records.
Oh, yeah. So all of us are still doing things on the label, and then, it's going to keep growing and growing from there. Al likes to kind of keep it in the family.
So basically now it sounds like just a working relation, everybody in all these different bands kind of banding together to, like a working relationship.
Well, Al contributed musically to the Watchers. He also, with False Icons, he did some backing vocals, and a couple of guitar.
He gave me the Adrian Sherwood crash course in mixing. And it was still a tornado to me. I was like, wow. But it was amazing listening to him. Just
right.
Fun.
Sitting there trying to pick everything up.
Yeah, it was amazing. He did wonders for us.
Right. So how has him and his work influenced you all early on?
Well, I mean, the first time I got into ministry was Land of Raven Honey. And I loved that record. I was like, holy shit, this is, because I was into industrial. I wasn't into metal. I was into industrial. I was into post-punk and just like something avant-garde. And then that was industrial. I was like, holy, it was a familiar sound industrial that I liked, but he took it even further.
Yeah.
And to me, it's highly inspirational. And all, even records after that, it's just like, wow. I literally ripped off some songs.
I bought the Cold Life 12-inch vinyl in '83.
Wow!
I heard it on the radio, and I had with sympathy. And it was what it was. It wasn't one of my favorite records, but it was okay. I was into electro pop and early electronic music, so I'm not afraid to admit it. Of course, Kraftwerk was one of my all-time biggest influences, but. When I first heard people, and I didn't really hear much about them, when I first heard people saying how ministry was industrial, it's like, that didn't make any sense to me. I thought they were like electronic.
Right.
I was friends with Martin Atkins. We played the band together. I went to see him on the Mind tour. And, it was like, oh, okay. This is like,
now I get it.
Now I get it. And that was because I kind of skipped over some of those records. And then went back and kind of like got back into it and picked up on the progression. And even with Twitch, there was like, that was, I think, the first record that he got to, bring his sound out. And very, very industrial, very dance. I think that was like the first real, Al record. And then really, Raven Honey kind of was an extension of that, but bringing in the metal guitars. That was the new twist. And that was a sound that people were just dying to hear, because up until then, nobody blended. There was no crossover. If you went to a punk show and you had long hair, you'd get beat up, you know. Right. If you went to like a metal show and you had a mohawk, you'd get beat up, you know. There was no, you know, but that was the first time, like, because I was in Killing Joke, and they weren't metal, but they had the intensity, the energy of metal.
Oh, yeah.
And
inspired a lot of metal bands.
yeah, and so I think they really were almost the first ones to do that. But Ministry, you know, brought, you know, real metal riffs and still had the industrial tracks. And I think, you know, for that reason, probably that's why he's, you know, the godfather of industrial metal or something. He kind of defined the sound. I mean, other bands were kind of getting there, and then he just kind of tweaked it from there. It had the energy and the intensity. But, you know, that's the problem with electronic music is, you know, it sounds good, but it doesn't have that, you know, take over the head kind of like intensity, energy.
Kind of brought all that together and brought that into it.
I think that's what electronic music was missing, and I think that's what Al was trying to do.
Very good. What, yeah, because I know, I mean, I've listened probably since around Raven Honey, probably just a terrible thing to take. I know a lot of my favorite stuff lately has been his latest, like starting from Animositas and maybe Notary and just, you know, building on that. This has been one of my favorite periods of his.
Well, I think we all kind of, you know, yeah, we're kind of a little bit like, you know, we got Dark Side of the Spoon, and we all tried to like it, and Animositas had a few songs that was trying to get there, but when I heard Mole, I was kind of like, oh, this has the vitality of the old stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could tell he was kind of like, you know, going back and kind of using that mold to kind of, you know, move forward. And I think that he tried going different directions with the other records and just went back to what he was good at. And Burton and I remember when I first got Mole, we sat out in the backyard and listened to it, and we were like, wow, this is like
It's like the old Ministry.
And then it was just about a month or two after that, I got an email from Ravens, you know, I wanted to go out on tour with it.
Right. But yeah, that just, you know, like I said, me personally, you know, I understand why he's doing it, and I have all the respect in the world for him, but it's just sad to see him go.
Yeah, you know. He'll be around. He'll be doing other stuff.
Oh, yeah. At least I know he's not going anywhere. There's plenty of work to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, aside from, you know, of course, the, you know, Ascension is out now. There's, you know, your band is on its way out. But what else is coming up? What is there to look forward to in the future?
That's in the fall, right?
In September,
September?
So we'll play some shows.
Yeah, kind of I saw.
After the Ministry tour, we'll have to play some shows in the States. And
yeah, we're probably going to tour False Icons and the Watchers, hopefully in the fall, because they both are already, well, Watchers is out, False Icons will be out, and by the time we get back from Europe, you know, we can start rehearsing.
Right.
Get ready for that. And so, yeah, there's just so much stuff happening, and there's remixes for like everything going on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing some, and you know, we're all kind of like involved in that, so it's just insane, you know, really, the amount of stuff that's going on. Yeah, Al's not worried about, you know, what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's got
Yes,
plenty of work ahead of
the
him.
movie soundtrack that he did, a movie called Wicked Lady. It's kind of like a, you know, like a B-movie, horror movie with like lesbian vampires and stuff.
Oh, well, that's a way to go. And I know, I know the director of that's put together like some of the video that's on this tour.
Yeah.
Like that too.
yeah, that's kind of video. Cool videos you watch that he did. I'm playing what the band's playing. So it's cool.
Very good.
Yeah. All in the family, you know.
That sounds almost kind of like a compound.
Yeah.
In that respect.
In a lot of ways, they call it the compound when we're all together there. So.
Yeah.
We're at 20 minutes, Mike.
We're all probably, that's fine. I'll probably take it there, because I know you're dying for a coffee and a trip to Burton, so. I know everybody wants their life,
I had a
so.
coffee there.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Michael,
Again, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Hey, thanks for
Thank you.
John,
Thank you.
like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all tonight. And like I said, I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
seeing the Ascension show when y'all bring that around, because I love that album.
Yeah, it's a good show. You know, it's different. It's more intense live, I think.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, very good. Signing off.